Alright you guys, now that we're right here at Beast Fab, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys to my good friend Jerry, the owner of Beast Fab. Let's go ahead and do it.
What's up, man? What are we doing today?
So today, we're going to be installing a brand new suspension onto my truck, and we're also going to be doing the upper control arms. Are you ready for this?
Let's get it.
Hell yeah, let's show you what we got.
I'm gonna show you what we got here. We have the new Pro Truck lift from EIBACH. Now they come with the coilovers. Actually, it can be adjustables. Obviously, it's gonna be the OEM replacement. You don't have to do anything to it. They're really nice, to be honest. We got the same, you know, the rear shocks right here. Also now, which is a good feature, now we got the spanner wrench right here. So which comes included with the kit. So you don't have to have a hard time like adjusting it if you need to. So we're gonna do this. Obviously, and then we're gonna throw some JBA upper control arms. If you guys posted, we're gonna get it done. I'm gonna show you before we lift the truck what's the lift that we got here. As probably you guys know, Jesse's truck is on 5100s running with the stock oils. So we're gonna show you guys the difference, the before and the after right now. So we're gonna measure the truck. So she's gonna be right now sitting at around 37 1/4, something around there, from the ground to the fender.
So let's go ahead and show you guys exactly how to do it. So of course you want to go ahead and remove the tire first. That's common sense. Let's go ahead and now show you guys exactly what we're going to be doing here. As for me, of course, I'm going to be upgrading the upper control arms, which are these right here. So we'll show you how that works as well. And then of course removing the suspension to put the brand new one. The first process we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to notice right here there's like some felt. We're going to need to remove it. Just get like a panel removal tool. You can kind of get it underneath right here, underneath, and underneath there, and it will remove. It's super easy, nothing too hard. As you can tell, we just leave it hanging, super easy. You guys could go ahead and do the same thing to the opposite side. Just go ahead and use that panel removal tool, and it removes just like that. And then all you got to do is just kind of leave it hanging, and then just that way you have a lot more room to work. All right, you guys, so I hope you guys do stay tuned for this whole video. Of course, we're going to show you guys how it looks once we install the whole thing. And then upcoming in another video, we're going to go ahead and do a review, and we're going to actually be testing this suspension off-road. We'll go ahead and hit maybe Cleghorn or something like that, so we can go ahead and hit some ruts. And then I'm also going to take it to the sand dunes, maybe jump it a little, we'll see. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But as of today, we're just going to be doing a how-to install for you guys. If you guys are a little bit afraid on doing this, of course, make sure to hit up Jerry, because he does do an awesome job, and he actually charges really good pricing. Go ahead and check with other people, and you guys will see he's also a really humble guy. Check him out. Let's get to it. All right, you guys, so for the first step, what we're going to be doing is we're going to start working kind of on the control arm, but looking down here, you're going to see there is a cotter pin. You could go ahead and use some needle nose pliers to remove that. This bottom one right here is going to be a size 19 to go ahead and remove.
Do this, and then you gotta hit it.
And just like that, after hitting it a couple times, it releases nice and easy. So even by hand, now I can do it. So up next, now that we removed this bolt, not completely, just kind of loose, we're going to be working on the spindle and the control arm so we can remove the ball joint. So you want to go ahead and just kind of bang it on the spindle, and you'll see it'll release. Just like that. Now that it's loose, you can go ahead and focus up here. It's going to be a size 10. We're going to go ahead and remove that bracket. And that one is for the ABS. That way it's out of the way and we don't mess nothing up. It's going to be a size 10 socket. So now that you've loosened this, we're just going to go ahead and put the bolt back in here, so that way we don't lose it. So you could go ahead and do the same thing. Up next, you're going to notice right here and right here, there's going to be a size 19 bolt that you want to go ahead and remove. It's that easy. And you could go ahead and grab some pliers, and we're going to be bending that metal. It's part of the body. It is metal. but we're gonna bend it out towards us. That way we can go ahead and get the tool needed to go ahead and actually remove the control arm completely. So as you can tell, we've bent it out enough so we could go ahead and get our tool back here to actually remove it completely. We've only loosened it with the wrench, which is a size 19. And one tip we want to give you guys, when bending this, you do want to be really careful because there is a harness that's actually attached to the body right here. Once you've bent it up like that, you'll see it. You want to go ahead and kind of take it off. It's actually clipped in from this side. And once you have the harness off, you can see it here. Kind of push it out of the way, and then the next thing you also want to focus on is you're going to notice right here, this is an AC line. You want to go ahead and just kind of push back on it and it releases. The reason why you want to do that is so when you get your gun right here to go ahead and actually remove the nut, that way you don't damage anything, because that is kind of critical on your AC line and this harness. So just make sure to take the tip of that, don't break that. So now that we gave you guys that tip, you're going to notice right here, of course, like we had stated, we loosened this one already, size 19. You want to go ahead and now remove it completely, just like that, and remove the washer. And then up next, we're going to be removing this side, which is going all the way through. So what do we do?
So pretty much, once you try to slide out the bolt, sometimes it gets really close to the body, so it gets stuck, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously it's pressure on the bolt. So what I do, I just grab one of these pry bars, just put it on the head of the bolt, and then I just hammer it out, you know?
So did you guys hear him? That's how to do it, just in case. God damn. And that's a long one, boys.
That's a long one.
For me, of course, how I am going to be installing some brand new upper control arms from JBA. It is going to be a little bit different process. If you guys are using your stock upper control arms, you guys can skip this step and just kind of move forward in the video. But as far as for us, we're going to be installing these bad boys right here. So you want to go ahead and get the bolt that you did take out from the control arm. Here it is. And you want to get one of your new washers that should be provided with your control arms. We're going to go ahead and just kind of slide it over just like that. Once it's slid over, you want to go ahead and kind of put the bolt just right in there. And you can go ahead and sit it for now, but you want to have it in this position. You guys will see why once we get to the process. Of course, that we have this bolt here, the washer there. One thing I did want to note, if you guys are getting the JBA's upper control arm, this is going to be for you guys, of course, but if not, you can skip this. It may be a little different for you if you got different ones. But as far as for me, JBA upper control arms, it's going to come with 2 bigger washers and 2 smaller washers. The bigger washers are actually going to be going on the outside of the control arm, so just like that. So I have one here and I have the other one there. As far as for the other 2 smaller washers, those are going to be going on the inside of the control arm, just like that. So one on each side, of course. So let's go ahead and keep going with this process. It's actually pretty easy. But as I had said in the beginning, if you guys are afraid to do any of this, I'd highly recommend just hitting up BeastFab. That way that you get it done right and quick.
There it is.
Now let me show you guys what I just did. So you're going to notice right here, of course, is the upper control arm. So right here, we've put the bolt right through it. You're going to notice right here, this is the bigger washer that we were talking about. Smaller one is right here. And then same thing here, the skinnier one is on the inside and the bigger washer's there. We've also put the nut, we just hand tightened it, that's about it. So that's done, and now I'm gonna show you guys on this side right here. So noticing the ball joint is actually right through the spindle. So all we did was just kind of pull the spindle up, and then from there, we've actually just put the upper ball joint right through it. And then put your nut that was provided, and then you're going to notice right here is the spacer washer. You want to make sure it's in that position there. And then basically you're done with the upper control arm. And now up next, we'll go ahead and start working on the shock. And then after that, we'll tighten everything down.
Once we already put the bolt through, we tighten the spindle with the upper control arm. This nut right here, just bring everything back to Toyota torque specs. So just to make sure. And then before you do that, just make sure that you apply grease on the bushings. So as you can see, I can still spin my bolt, so I can still put grease on here. Then you can go ahead and tighten it up. So go ahead and do that.
Greasing on the Zerk fittings, so that's what he's doing here. So of course, if you guys don't have this actual gun at home, this is why it's best to just take it to a shop and get it done right. So thanks to Jerry for this bad boy right here. Damn.
And then we're gonna reuse our little 10 bolt that it came from the stock upper control arms, and then you're gonna reuse it here. As you can see, we have the little hole, so we've got to put the bracket for the ABS, and then just put it here.
And then the part that he was saying about greasing, we call it the nipples, but they're actually called Zerk fittings. There's going to be one on this side and then one on this side. Make sure you grease those bad boys. So now that you've tightened everything down to Toyota factory specs, of course, you're going to notice right here up top for the ABS line, we've already reused the bolt that was off the other old control arm. You want to go ahead and bolt it down. If you are having trouble with this bracket, you can kind of open it up. That's what we did. And then put it down, put the bolt in, and then kind of bend this back in so it just looks nice and clean. Once you've done that, you're gonna notice on this side, if you guys do remember, we had to kind of pinch this out towards us. So now you can go ahead and hammer it back. Once you hammer it back, you can go ahead and now put your harness back onto the body and then put this AC line back in as well. And then you'll be done, and then now we could go ahead and start moving onto the awesome shocks that we're going to be installing. Let's do it. Noticing that we've already finished up everything, and I know most of you guys are probably here for the actual suspension install. So the next thing you want to do is, of course, now we're going to finally work on the suspension. So looking right here, there's going to be a nut on this side and one on the opposite side. Those are going to be the first ones you want to go ahead and remove. That's going to be a size 19 millimeter socket. Once you get those out, you're going to notice right here underneath on the spindle where the ball joint is right here, there's going to be a nut right here, and there's going to be a nut right there. Those two there are going to be a size 19. You want to go ahead and remove those. After you finish up that, then you want to go ahead and kind of focus back up here, and you're going to notice there is the camber bolts, which is there's one on this side and then there's one on the opposite side. Those ones are going to be a size 22 millimeter socket. Let me go ahead and show you guys now that you guys know what tools to grab.
A little bit of help.
And just like that.
Once in the bottom.
All right, so of course we remove this one and that one, size 19. Up next, let's do the camber ones. So size 22. It's ugly. I'll sleep with it at night. So as you guys can tell, we didn't remove it completely on both this side and on this side. We just kind of loosened it, and the reason why is so that way we can bring this actual lower control arm down, so that way we can go ahead and now start working on pulling out the shock. First, before that though, we're going to now focus at the top. So looking up here, you're going to notice there's a nut here, and there's going to be one in the back that you're not going to be able to see on camera, but you can see in person. Those are all going to be a size 14 socket, and then we'll be able to actually take out the shock, and you guys will see.
Hit it. That. That's it.
And that's it. Once those are out, you can go ahead and now pull the whole shock down and release it. Just like that. You may have to maneuver it, but that was actually pretty easy. All right, you guys, so now let's go ahead and grab the brand new one so we can go ahead and slide it in. Before we do that though, you're gonna notice right here at the top, it does have some of these bad boys right here, some nuts and washers. You wanna go ahead and grab them, put them in your hand, and let's go ahead and move on to the truck to actually install it. One tip we wanted to give you guys for those of you guys that are going to end up doing it at home, once you remove those there, you want to go ahead and move to the truck. Make sure you have them in your hand. The reason why is because the tip that we wanted to give you guys is leave one there, and then leave the third one kind of somewhere where you can grab it easily. The reason why, because if you're doing this at home and by yourself, once you kind of move the shock in, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to go and grab the actual bolts on the floor. So if you have them right here in an easy position where you could just go ahead and grab them, flip them over and twist it, it's going to be a lot easier for you. Right now what we're doing is just kind of hand tightening, just that way it's in the position. So as you can tell, I made it easy to just grab it, slide it in, and same thing with that side. And then you get your third one and do the one that's on the back, of course. So now that we've hand tightened those 3 that were on the top, you don't want to tighten them down all the way yet. Let me just tell you why. So when you are going to start putting this lower control arm back together, if you guys tighten those top bolts there, it's going to bring the shock up a lot. And when you go down here, it's going to be hard to bring up the lower control arm to match it up so that way you can put the bolt through. So now if you leave it loose like what we just did, just kind of hand tighten them, now that actually allows the shock to sit a little bit lower for now, of course. So that way it's just a little bit easier to bring up the control arm and slide the bolt through and just kind of put everything back together. And then you can go ahead and tighten everything down to Toyota factory spec. So as you could tell, that makes it so much easier. If you guys would have tightened that all the way down up top, this wouldn't have been easy. You would have actually struggled to bring this thing up to kind of match up the hole. So that just makes it easier. One big tip we'd highly suggest. Of course, just same thing, just hand tighten everything, just kind of put it on, and that's about it. And then once we do that one, let's go ahead and focus down here. So now that we set up the bolts kind of in its position where they need to be before we tighten them down, we wanted to give you guys one more tip. So focusing right here at the bottom, I'm going to try to get it as best as I can for you guys. You guys want to try to make sure to have this nut on this side like that, and then the actual bolt facing outwards. And the reason why, this is just going to be for your safety and just for down the road. If you actually have this nut on this side and the bolt facing the other way, it could actually potentially probably fall out, or you won't be able to see it. And if that ends up happening, this bolt, if it'll end up kind of shaking with vibrations and stuff like that, fall out, and then your whole shock can come out. So that's one tip we could give you guys. And make sure to actually put this bolt in this position like we have it, and the nut in this position like that. So let's go ahead and tighten everything down. All right, you guys, so we finished up with this passenger side. Now, all we have left is, of course, the other side. So the same exact steps that you did to this side, you want to do to the opposite side. Once you finish up the front, then we're going to go ahead and now move on to the rear, which is actually a lot easier than what we just did. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And then I'm also going to be doing that review video, so stay tuned for that. The cool thing about this actual suspension, it's actually crazy affordable. You can go check it out, description box below. And another thing, I could actually run a front bumper with this thing with no problem. It actually has the spring rate for it, so stay tuned for that. That should be coming too. So let's go ahead and keep going. Let's go ahead and now move on to the rear. Of course, if you guys don't have an aftermarket suspension like me, it's one step less, but it's basically exactly the same thing. I'm super excited to actually be installing the brand new ones from EIBACH, which are right here. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to test them out. But basically it's going to be easy. So all you have is a bolt up here, and then you're going to have a bolt down here. As far as for me, I do have this resi, so it's going to be one more step, but that's fine. If you guys don't have this, don't worry about it. It's just going to be the one up there and down there. Right here for the rear, it's going to be a size 17mm socket up top, and then right here at the bottom, it's also going to be a size 17. One thing I did want to let you guys know, stay tuned, because EIBACH is actually coming out with a reservoir shocks for the rear sometime in the summer. So in the future, I'll probably switch mine out for those, but I did want to let you guys know to stay tuned, because that is going to be an option for you guys. Also, I know they have been testing them vigorously on and off road, so you know they're going to be really good. Damn. Out with the old, time for the new. Let's go ahead and grab this and install. Damn. So now that we have the brand new shock that's going to go for the rear, noticing right here up top on the EIBACH ones, not sure if it's going to be for all of them, but as far as for this one, should be pretty similar. You're going to notice right here up top, there's a nut. You want to go ahead and remove that. There's going to be a washer, remove that as well. And it does go in this section, as you can tell, goes like that. And then you want to remove the actual bushing that's there as well. So now we can go ahead and put it up top, and then we'll re-put this once it's in there. Just like that. All right. And then we'll put the bushing first, and then the washer, and then the nut. Bottom. Just like that. This would probably help if you guys do have someone else kind of helping you out to hold it up and then put the bolt through. If not, it is accomplishable by yourself. Just will take some time. Just like that. Put the nut. Once you finish up with the bottom, just hand tighten it. Now you can go ahead and go back to the top and actually tighten it down, and then we'll go back down and actually tighten that. And then of course you do the same exact step that you did here onto the opposite side, and then you can put your tires back and enjoy the ride.
Now that we dropped the truck from the ground, all the weight is in the suspension, so we're gonna take the after the suspension. So we're gonna show you guys right here. So we had 37.5. After everything, you know, we're looking at actually a 2.5 lift, you know. So yeah, that's what it is. It looks better now.
All right, you guys, so now that we finished the installation process, all that's left is actually getting in alignment. Once I get the alignment, I can finally go do the review video and test this bad boy out. I do want to give a big shout out to Jerry, so make sure to go check him out on Instagram. It will be in the description box below. I also want to give a big thanks to EIBACH for making this happen. So if you guys do end up wanting to purchase their product as well, make sure to check out the description box below to get yours. Or if you guys want to wait until the review video, make sure you're subscribed and turn that bell notification on. So when we do that video, you guys can watch it and see if it's worth it or not. Another thing, as I had said in the beginning, the cool thing about this suspension is it's not crazy expensive, and you could actually put some bumpers on this because it is spring rated for it. So stay tuned for that as well. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.